Okay, welcome back. We're done with the pause. That took about 2.5, maybe 3 minutes, and we've got this welcome screen for OpenSUSE. I'm going to try and move things around so they fit. So there we go. Here's the language, English. The US English is my keyboard layout. There's my license agreement, and I could go through and read it all. This is important to note. I've just now clicked into the operating system with VirtualBox installed, and what this means is it's trapping my mouse inside of the VirtualBox installation, and the way that I can get it to release my mouse so that I can interact with other things on my desktop is to hit the right control key. Now, if you think this is a pain in the ass, you're right. It's a big pain in the butt. However, there's a solution for it, and it's called VirtualBox Guest Editions. However, we can't install the VirtualBox Guest Editions until the client operating system has been installed. Once we get that installed and configured, I'll show you how to do the Guest Editions install, and then you can interact with your VirtualBox operating system just like it's any other window on your machine. Not a big deal. So let's continue on. Here's the license translation. If you want to read it all, there we go. Yay. I hope you're a speed reader, and I'm going to hit next. And the system's going to kind of probe what I've got to try and see if it can figure things out. It's doing its stuff, and it's adding junk to the repository. Yay! And I can't recall offhand if this is going to take too long or not. So I'm going to go ahead. I don't need to pause. It's a new installation. I'm not upgrading. I'm not repairing anything. It's just a brand new installation. I'm going to go ahead and hit next. I'm going to use automatic configuration. I'm not adding on any products at this point in time. So here we go. Where am I? Eastern New York. I'm not in New York. I'm actually in Grand Rapids, which is on the other side of Michigan, but you know, that's as good as it's going to get. That's where I live. Yay, we're going to go ahead and hit next and continue on. Desktop. This is one of the biggest points of question, concern, panic for people who have not dealt with a Linux operating system. This is where we pick our desktop, and in Linux you have multiple desktops to choose from. The most common are GNOME and KDE. What is the difference? It's primarily look and feel. It's all user preference. Basically, think of the desktop in Linux, if you're familiar with Windows, as essentially the customization and layout of how you would have your Windows things. So it includes fonts, it includes slight operational differences, it includes slight layout differences, but primarily if you're using either GNOME or KDE, you pretty much have duplicate functionality between the two. They're fairly equivalent to one another in terms of what they do and underlying how they do it, because the actual OS, the actual code that's running in the background, the real stuff, is essentially the same. We're just basically dealing with the user interface right here. As long as you use GNOME or KDE, you can pretty much do the same thing in either environment. You just do them slightly differently. Menus will be in different locations, and pointers will, you know, it's just, they look and feel. If you choose to use something else, that's fine. Now, I'm going to choose GNOME. Why am I going to choose GNOME versus KDE? Oh my gosh, should I choose KDE instead, or what should I? No, I'm choosing GNOME. Why? Well, because years ago I had a car that had a gas pedal that looked like that, and I thought that was really cool. So that's why I'm choosing GNOME. Totally personal preference. Go ahead and hit next. I could say LVM for a live virtual machine. I'm going to do it partition-based, create a swap partition. Remember, I've set up a hard drive in my virtual OS specifically for this. So this gets complete control of this virtual hard drive that the operating system is going to play with. I'm going to go ahead and hit next. And here we go, my user full name and all this stuff. So who am I? I'm Devin Olson, and I'm going to be Dolson, and I don't know if it's going to show my password or not, so I'm going to go ahead and right control out and pause. Okay, my passwords didn't show, so they're kind of blocked out. That's cool. I am not using this password for the system administrator. I do not want to be root. I do want to receive system mail. I'm gonna go ahead and let it automatically log me in. when I start the system, simply so I don't have to deal with it. And you know what? No, I'm not going to let it automatically log me in. So there we go. I created my initial user. This is not the root user. This is me. So there we go. Now it wants the password for the root user here, and again, I can't remember if it'll hide it or not. So, okay, magic of video, our cool kitchen oven, and I've typed in my passwords. I'm going to go ahead and hit next. When you set up your root password in a Linux system, where it says do not forget what you entered here, really, don't forget it, because it's the keys to the kingdom as far as Linux goes. Okay, we're setting up partitioning and booting, doing its thing. It runs fairly quickly. That YAST box that you see popping up, YAST is basically it's an installation configuration tool that the Linux operating system uses to set itself up. Alright, I've got my summary, everything's ready to go. We've got all of our choices set. I'm pretty happy here. However, I need to change just a few things.